So, every family has their genealogy club, or genealogy kook, the person that you kind of hide from family picnics, the one who comes over and wants to tell you a story about great-great-uncle Ed and how he fits into the family, and then has a heated discussion with you about, no, you're not that person's fourth cousin, you're your cousin once removed. I love that guy. That's me. People hide. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. Lucky you're not related to me. So, yeah. Now, every family has one. And I'd like to defend my kind, that we do have redeeming value, because we come up with cool things, like we can tell you, oh, well, this is our ancestor that came over on the Mayflower. Or, did you know that we're related to Franklin Pierce, whichever president he was? Cool things like that. All right, so there's redeeming value for people like me. We're going to do a little genealogy study today, because everyone loves it. All right. Now, I want to remind you, a little genealogy thing is, this is one of my ancestors, Jesse Mason Greenman. Yeah, you saw it, didn't you? It's in that kooky eye. Now, he's the one that settled Greenman Hill, Gremlin Hill, whatever you want to call it. He's the guy. I'm sort of related to him. It's complicated, I can explain that. Yeah, I'll tell you how many times we moved. Alright, so that's my cool thing for today. Alright, that's as good as genealogy gets. What I want to think about today is the genealogy of, because there is importance to the family tree. And we're told a few times that Jesus is related to Judah. We've been talking a little bit about Judah as we've gone through the book of Genesis. In Revelation, we're told, weep no more, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has conquered. This is talking about Jesus Christ. This is talking about Jesus winning the final victory for eternity. And it's linked to being a lion of the tribe of Judah, that he's from this family line. So Judah's got to be kind of an important person if Jesus' lineage is being tied back to Judah. So we're going to walk through the story of Judah a little bit this morning to get an idea of, who is this guy? So first, Genesis chapter 37. It's on page 29. This is going to be a little bit of a survey across a few chapters so we get a good feel for who this great guy is, known as Judah. Judah is the fourth of multiple brothers. Their dad is Jacob. And remember, these are the brothers that didn't like Joseph. Joseph had a snazzy coat, and they sold him into slavery. Now, let's see what sort of role Judah has in this. Chapter 37, verses 26 through 28. Judah said to his brothers, what will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother. In flesh and blood, his brothers agreed. And so then they sold him. Great guy. Way to go, Judah. He's a leader. Let's give him credit. He is a leader. He took charge. He made a suggestion. And they didn't kill him. They sold him into slavery. All right, so there's Judah. Next glimpse of Judah. Just a few verses down. The brothers all together, they got Joseph's robe, slaughtered a goat, dipped the robe in the blood. They took the ornamented robe back to their father and said, we found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe. He recognized it and said, it is my son's robe. Some ferocious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces. Now there's bravery right there. Judah is, what a brave man. He did something wrong, and so now they're covering it up by lying to their dad. We found this. What do you think happened, Dad? I don't know. I've heard that from kids before. When they're guilty, I don't know. So that's what Judah's doing here. I don't know what happened to his coat. I don't know what happened to Joseph. Boy, I wonder. All right. Leadership Judah. Now, these are actually not the worst of things, to some degree. The next story commentary said it is an unsavory story. When you hear unsavory, what do you think of? Unsavory. Bad tasting. Yeah. That's because I made supper last night. You think of greasy food. But it could be unsavory also. So, wrong decisions. Yes. These are all coming together. I looked up in a very scholarly place, dictionary.com, and I got some definitions, but a picture sometimes is worth 1,000 words. So I have a picture and I have the definitions here. That's the picture I get, all right? That works for me, and that works for this story too. So, thank you dictionary.com for telling us unsavory is not savory. That's helpful. Unpleasant in taste, unappealing or disagreeable, socially or morally objectionable. Chapter 38, I'll let you read that on your own time. That's a story of where Judah neglects the needs of his daughter-in-law, who's a widow, and then he ends up in a very complicated relationship with her, and they have a child in a very wrongful sort of relationship. It's messy. It is unsavory all the way through. Now, there's a reason why that story is tucked here, too. The story is going on about how amazing Joseph is. Joseph continues to make good decisions, and then we've got Judah. Unsavory Judah. All right, now, for the genealogy junkie, this is not helping me. Because when I tell you about great-great-uncle cousin Ed, I want to tell you the great things. And at this point, Judah, he is striking out. He's like the guy we don't mention in our family circles. Judah's life continues. When Joseph ended up in a good spot in Egypt, he was in control of the grain. And so everyone who wanted to get grain during the famine needed to come to Joseph, including his brothers. His brothers came to Joseph to ask for this food, not knowing that it's Joseph they're asking it from. And this is what they say in front of Joseph. Chapter 42, verse 21. So these are the brothers. They said to one another, "Surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That's why this distress has come upon us." This is quite a change for Judah. Judah has been, doing wrong, lying, and unsavory. And now they get to a point in which they're looking back and forth and they're saying, we have done something really wrong. And they specifically name it. And this seems to be a turning point in Judah's life, in which he has confessed sin. And now when we see Judah again, things are very different. Part of the story is that Joseph continues to test his brothers, and it says, if you want more grain, you have to bring your youngest brother back with you. You have to bring Benjamin. And the dad doesn't want him to go. He's like, I lost one son to wild animals, I think. I don't want to lose another one. And Judah gives this assurance. Chapter 43, verses 8 through 10. Then Judah said to Israel his father, "Send the boy along with me, and we will go at once, so that we and you and our children may live and not die. I myself will guarantee his safety. You can hold me personally responsible for him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him here before you, I will bear the blame before you all my life. As it is, if we had not delayed, we could have gone and returned twice." So Judah, the guy who sold one brother into slavery, who really could have cared less, now is standing up and saying, Dad, I'm putting my name on the line. I will protect Benjamin. Now we could say he's just hungry. You say, well, yeah, when you're starving to death, yeah, you're going to do some more bold things. But this storyline for Judah continues. The final test that Joseph gave his brothers was that he arrests Benjamin, the one that Judah has said, I'm bringing him back no matter what, Dad. Joseph arrests him and says, I'm going to put him in jail. You guys can go, but he's going to rot in jail here. Judah gives a lengthy speech, and at the end, he gives one of the most passionate pleas that I can imagine. It's on page 35, verses 30 through 34. So now, if the boy is not with us when I go back to your servant my father, and if my father, whose life is closely bound up with the boy's life, sees that the boy isn't here, he will die. Your servants will bring the gray head of our father down to the grave in sorrow. Your servant guaranteed the boy's safety to my father. I said, if I do not bring him back to you, I will bear the blame before you, my father, all my life. Now then, please let your servant remain here as my Lord's slave in place of the boy, and let the boy return with his brothers. How can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? No. Do not let me see the misery that would come upon my father. This is a different Judah. The Judah who said, no, let's not kill our brother. We can make money on him. To a guy who's saying, don't let me go back home. I can't bear to see the pain of my dad's face again. I can't bear to go back home and fall short of what I said I would do. He says that he's saying, I will give my life for Benjamin. Don't send me home alone. Sounds a little bit like Jesus, doesn't it? Judah is willing to give up his life for his brother. Jesus gave up his life for you and I. Judah was willing to pay a debt to get Benjamin out of jail. Jesus paid a debt for us to spend eternity with him. The family tree is getting a little closer together now. We're going to come back to that, but I want to think a little bit about our story. I know it looks like I drew that myself. I didn't. I got that from clip art. A little bit too much for me. But I want to think about my story, your story. How are we similar to Judah? I mean, on the one hand, I'm assuming most of us have never sold a brother into slavery. I bet most of us have been pretty mad at a sibling or a family member or a friend, like really burning mad. There's probably some time in our life which we can go back to in which we thought something wrong, did something wrong because of anger. We probably never lied to a parent to the extent that Judah and his brothers lied to his dad. But have you ever twisted the truth? See, I'm not saying lying. Have you ever twisted the truth so you didn't get in trouble? Or so someone wouldn't know something about you? Maybe. Judah's unsavory behavior, I bet all of us have done something that we wish we hadn't done. Probably doesn't line up to be the same as Judah's. But I bet each one of us has something or some things tucked back in our past. Why did I do that? Just like Judah had a debt of sin, you and I carry a debt of sin. A debt that separates us from God, in which we cannot be close to God because we have this debt that we carry around. But just like Judah's forgiveness, Judah's confessing of his sin, we know that also. Because Jesus paid our debt in full on a tree. I want to think a little bit more about this. how we have come to know God through Jesus Christ. It's something that we celebrated this morning up at Wilson's Pond. It's something that Thomas reminded us of through his act of baptism. To do this, I want to look at Romans chapter 10, verses 8 through 13, to remind us, how is it that we respond? If we truly believe that, yes, we're separated from God by sin, how is it that we know God for eternity? How is it that we make the transformation that Judah saw in his life? And Judah went from, he was a leader, but he was a loser, to someone who would be willing to give up his life for the right reason. Romans chapter 10, verses 8 through 13. But what does it say? The word is near you, it is in your mouth and in your heart. That is the word of faith we are proclaiming. That if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you confess and are saved. As the scripture says, anyone who trusts in him will never be put to shame. For there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all, and richly blesses all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. This passage reminds us that if we truly believe that God is real, if we truly believe that Jesus Christ lived and died, then we confess it. We say it with our mouth, or as Thomas reminded us, we do it with baptism. Say, yeah, this is real. I want people to know. This isn't a secret. I believe that Jesus Christ is real, that he has forgiven me. And so this ABC, this is, as you know, I'm simple-minded. I remember things with easy things. So ABC, we admit that we are sinners, that we can't fix our problem. We believe that Jesus is real, that he lived, died, and rose again. And then we confess that he really is our forgiver and the leader of our lives. This doesn't just say that we believe it. It says we believe it in our heart. And last week in Sabbath school, Bill and Pearl talked about a sermon from the 90s. It must have been a good one if they're remembering a sermon from the 90s. Talked about how we can miss heaven by 18 inches. That you can know that Jesus is real, or that you can know that Jesus was there. Do you believe it in your heart? There's a difference between just a head knowledge of saying, yeah, I think that's real, or really believing it. I've told you one of my favorite stories about Blondin. He's one of the guys, like, I think it's in the 1800s, would cross over Niagara Falls on a tightrope, and everybody would go crazy, be like, Blondin, Blondin, yeah. There wasn't much to do those days, I guess. And so they'd be like, yeah, wow, this guy's awesome. And he would go back and forth, and then he said, do you believe that I can do this? And people are chanting, yes, yes, we believe. He said, all right, who's going to climb on my back, and I'll carry you across the tightrope? Nobody. There's a big difference between saying, yeah, I believe that you can do it, and getting on his back and going across. That's the difference that's going on here. There's a difference between just saying, yeah, I think that Jesus is probably real, and saying, I believe it. I believe this is so core to me, I've been changed. Big difference between those two things. Just a few more verses. How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can they preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. Paul reminds us that we are commissioned to show Christ to other people. That other people know about Jesus because of how we live, what we say. As we think about Judah, his life transformation made him live differently. The same should be true of us. This morning's baptism, I hope, reminds each one of us of our call to confess our belief in Jesus Christ. Not just a head knowledge, but a heart knowledge that it's real. And also that baptism reminds us that we are commissioned to service. If Judah had that heart change and asked for forgiveness, but didn't change his life, like didn't stand up for his brother, what a miss. What purpose has God created you and I for? On this side of our confession of faith, what has God called us to do? I hope that remembering baptism reminds each one of us that we have a purpose. Probably purposes that God is calling us to. I hope that we're faithful to those. Who knows what lives might be changed by God working through us?